another day, and you don't have to hide away. You'll be my boy, but for now it's time to run. It's time to run.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the School of Science podcast, episode number 30-something. My name is Jordan Gifkins. Alongside me is the famous Jake White. How you going, mate?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Very, very well indeed. For those wondering why he's famous, he had a tweet that has gone viral throughout Australia.
I was trending in Melbourne.
Yeah, trending. He's gone viral throughout Melbourne and Australia, and yeah, bits and parts of Australia.
Happy days.
Yeah, just bring a little bit of publicity to the podcast.
Got absolutely ruined by a professional footballer, but that's right.
No ideal world you wouldn't be, but you know, Matt Yeoman. So let's talk about Everton Football Club. That's why we're here.
It is,
and you know,
not for Matt Yeoman.
Matt Yeoman. We can reflect, and it's a time of reflection for Everton, which is always nice. We get to reflect back on a win.
Sounds like we're about to do a funeral.
We like to pass away Everton. I don't know what I'm saying. Wouldn't like to pass away Everton. That's a bit of a weird thing to say. Everton versus Watford, Jake, in the league. A 3-2 win when all things looked doom and gloom. It's been obviously a little bit of time since that game. Week and a half, roughly. 2-0 down with not long to play. Turned into a 3-2 win. A spirited performance from the boys in blue. Yeah. In what looked all hopes lost with Richarlison, who, by the way, is a fantastic footballer.
Yeah, the fake Brazilian.
He came into the Premier League with, you know, high raps as such, but, you know, probably didn't expect him to be outrageously good coming from Fluminense. I'm not sure how that is. Fluminense. In which he scored 5 goals in the league last season, so he wasn't exceptional. He's come to the Premier League and got 4 goals and 2 assists in his first 11 games, 10 of which he started. And he's 20 years old.
So people are saying his finishing is dog shit, but like that finish for his first goal was something else.
Showed immense composure. That was in the 46 minutes, literally within a minute of the second half.
Yeah, good start.
Kabasele then, 20 minutes later, put Watford 2-0 up, and it didn't look good, did it? 2-0 down, 64th minute. Kabasele scores from a corner. Didn't look good, but then, just before that, Lookman had come on. Their keeper had gone off with a thing on his eye, cut his eye open or something like that, and had to go off.
Hence the 12 minutes of out of time.
And you look at that and you think, 2 important moments in the game. Our centre defensive midfielder being replaced by Lookman, who obviously is a very good player, brings much better speed, and Karnezes, who came on, I think it was his debut in the league for Watford. I think Gomez has played every game, and it changed the course of the game because Gomez had made a couple of good saves up to that point. And Karnezes was, you know, probably at fault for the first goal that we scored. Umar Niasse, over the top ball from Lookman, Niasse running onto it. Didn't give up hope, which is what Niasse is really good at. Just trying to get those little lucky breaks, and it's coming off for him at the moment. I think it's like the second or third goal he scored from just taking a chance on something.
And like bundling it into it.
Yeah, and almost missing. I think if, you know, the defender had put him off, I think it would have been a penalty and a red card regardless, because he did go through the back of him. But Niasse scored in the 67th minute. Karnezes all at sea.
Also the second one as well. Like it's really weird because like I don't usually like to go off FIFA ratings to like think how good players are, but Pickford's like a 77 overall keeper on FIFA, and this Karnezes bloke is like an 82 overall, and he was proper dog shit.
Well, Karnezes was very, very good last season in La Liga, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice. Never heard of him.
He played in Serie A, last season. Played 33 games in Serie A last season. Serie A. The Serie A, the Calcio A, for Udinese. So he's a good keeper. I mean, he came in to the Premier League for a reason. But he was all at sea for that one as well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring his first league goal of the season. Here, another substitute. We see Lookman have a big play in scoring the first goal. We see Calvert-Lewin scoring 6 minutes after coming on, making it 2-2, and then it's another spirited substitution. It's been the story of our season, hasn't it? At Bournemouth, we look at the substitutes won us that game. I can't remember any other wins, but this one. But we look at the substitute here, Aaron Lennon, 85th minute. Huge substitute, taking a risk as such with 5 minutes to go plus 12 minutes of added time. Winning the penalty for us 6 minutes after coming on. Leighton Baines converting to put 3-2 up. And then Tom cleverly, Jake, doing probably his most influential thing for Everton by giving us the win, basically, by missing a penalty. Ridiculously poor penalty. I think Pickford would have saved it anyway if it'd gone the right, if it was inside the post, because he was there and thereabouts.
It was shades of that game where we had a penalty debacle where Morales just took the ball off everyone. And I understand cleverly taking the penalty because he was the captain and stuff, but like as soon as they got the penalty, they had like 4 players sprint to the ball, and then Richarlison picked up the ball, but then cleverly like took it off him. So that was interesting. Well,
it's good that it worked out. My favourite moment of that whole play was Jordan Pickford doing a knee slide in celebration of him missing the penalty.
I saw that. I was watching someone's vlog from the game, and they're like behind those goals, and like he's gone like towards the ball to get the ball, but he's done like a knee slide that's gone for like 5 meters.
Loves it. So a 3-2 win, which is very, very welcoming. We cannot complain with a win at these precious times of the season. Realistically, the win lifts us up into 15th position heading into this weekend's games against Crystal Palace. A win there, fingers crossed, could push up to as high as 12th, most likely, unless we fucking smack them.
Which is not going to happen. We'll be lucky. I would take a scrappy 1-0 win, to be honest. We usually struggle at Palace, so...
And then you go from there, and a win after that could, potentially push us into the top 8. So it's not all doom and gloom.
I said it, like, we were going through a tough time, but like when we sacked Koeman, we had like 6 really good games in a row to pick our season up. And like, I know it was still a scrappy win against Watford, but a win's a win. And if we can manage to get some momentum from that and potentially get 2 wins or 2 wins and a draw or something like that from our next 4 games, we'll be sitting around like 10th. Like, then at the end of the day, like, obviously that's not, but it's not all doom and gloom. That's why I was never too worried about relegation until after these decent run of games that we have.
Correct. The team starting lineup, Jake. We'll quickly just touch on, obviously I don't want to spend too much time on this game, but we'll quickly touch on the starting lineup of this one. Pickford in goal, Kenny on the right, Baines on the left, Keane and Jagielka in the middle, Idrissa Gueye, Benny Benigami and Tom Davies in the middle, Rooney, Niasse and Sigurdsson in the front 3. Can't remember exactly how that set up. I think Rooney played up front with Niasse and Sigurdsson played behind him in like a narrow 4-4-2 or something like that.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like, I didn't mind this whole setup of it, but I'm still of the firm belief that if we don't have Coleman in our team, we need to be playing 2 out-and-out wingers, because I think that was our issue. Because like you could see when we came on as well, as soon as we brought Lookman on to bring some width into the team, we played immediately better. But I wasn't like when the lineup was announced, I wasn't like disappointed with the lineup as such. But at the same time, it was like we have been watching Everton obviously all season, and we know that without Coleman bombing down that right wing, we'd need to play 2 out-and-out wingers, and we didn't, which was disappointing to a sense. But at the same time, we were very unlucky to even go 2-0 down in the first place, because I was pretty happy with how we went in the first half. But at the same time, it's just like it's these days in the Premier League, you need to be playing 2 out-and-out wingers that can bomb down the wings. And Kenny, I do like Kenny, but he just doesn't offer us that at the moment because he's a very conservative right back.
Agreed.
Glad.
Well, no, I think he gets forward and he whips the ball and he can do it all. But
he's got a really good cross.
Fantastic.
But
You know, it reminds me of Luke Garbutt, just a little bit better
yeah,
on the other side.
it's really interesting one day if we had Coleman and Baines at left back and right back, and with Kenny at right mid and Garbutt at left mid. It would be horrible, but at the same time, like, yeah.
Be interesting.
We've got Balassi coming back soon, though. So.
Interesting statistics from this game, Jake. 38% of the ball to Everton, not something we're used to at home, especially against a team of Watford's calibre. I know Watford are not no disrespect to them, they're not a big team. They're not well renowned for being a high possession team, but they've come to it, Goodison Park. They've won the possession count by a fair chunk. They've had more shots on goal, less on target, but more on goal. And they've almost played us off the park at times. It was a different approach from Everton. We're not used to seeing Everton lose possession of the ball. We're actually more used to them playing far too slow in the build-up and just passing it sideways and backwards and not doing too much with the ball. So a little bit of a different, sort of game style we're used to. I don't know if Unsworth has said anything in particular to holding possession. I know.
Well, that's what our under 23s do as well. Like, they're very, like, when they get the ball, Unsworth expects you to be one of the quickest teams in the comp and to get it from one side of the pitch to the other as soon as possible. So I don't know if he's really trying to bring much from the under 23s over to what we're doing in the Premier League, but there's similarities there with what he's trying to do, I guess.
I can definitely see, a few different. I don't know. For me, it's just different. It's just different. I guess, like, we look at Martinez was very attacking, possession orientated. You had to go forward and work the ball into the box, have a bit of pace on it. But
yeah, like, he wasn't boring at the same time. We had a lot of possession at a lot of occasions.
Yeah.
Like, there'd be games against Swansea where we'd, like, draw 0-0, but we'd have, like, 70% possession.
And then we look at under Koeman, we were very possession orientated as well. Probably since David Moyes, we've had possession orientated managers, so obviously a little bit different, but we got the win, so I don't know if it's
all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I remember saying before the game as well, I don't care how we do it, I don't care if it's 5-4 or if it's 1-0, we just need 3 points. Obviously, it would have been ideal to get a clean sheet because we literally don't know what a clean sheet is these days, but I didn't care how we did it. It was just important to go into the international break with 3 points, and that's what we did.
Exactly right. Is there anything you want to mention on this game?
Not really. Like, I was impressed with, like, the players that came off the bench. Obviously, like, they were the ones that changed the game in the end. Like, literally, like, they won us the game. But yeah, like I said, I was just happy that we got 3 points. And I don't know if you want to touch on anything managerial-wise on the way Marco Silva against this, because, like, we are heavily linked with him, and I want him, but at the same time, it doesn't bode too well his recent performances, like getting absolutely smacked up by City, but realistically, everyone's getting smacked up by City. And then,
except us.
Yeah, literally, we're the only team to take a point away from City so far. And yeah, I don't know on him really too much, but he does remind me a bit of Martinez, but I think a little bit better than Martinez. So I don't know what your take on him is at all. Like, I know that you're looking at the fact that he did get Hull relegated, but at the same time, they were basically down when he did take over at the same time.
So that's what I mentioned to you when I mentioned the Hull getting relegated, is they were pretty much gone when he got given the job. So I don't read too much into that. I like Watford this season. I think they've been good. But you look at 6-0 loss to Man City at home. You look at a 1-0 home loss to Stoke.
Yeah, and they were very, very poor in that game as well.
But then you have to turn it around and say they should have gone to Stamford Bridge and won.
Richarlison scores 2 sitters there. They're 3-1 up and basically out of sight there. So
they've been
it's
super
a weird one.
Inconsistent, and that was something under Martinez that we didn't like, is the inconsistency within the squad. They did beat Arsenal at home, which, I mean, Arsenal are not the same team they are this year, but, they're still a decent side.
We got absolutely smacked up by the same Arsenal team. So,
but then they draw 0-0 at home to Brighton. they actually lost in the cup to Bristol City at home. I don't know what sort of team they were playing.
It's a really weird one. Like, I'm obviously, in my opinion, we have a much better squad than what Watford have. But at the same time, do we run that risk? Because could it just go down the same path as Martinez? And realistically, when you actually look at what Martinez did compared to what Koeman did, like, Martinez probably was a better manager than Koeman at the end of the day for us. But at the same time, we need to go down a path where we're starting to talk top six more so than consistently floating around 7th to 10th.
I guess time will tell. I'm in the firm belief that I think Unsworth is going to be given the job for the rest of the season.
Right now, yeah.
I reckon. I think if okay, so this, I mean, I watch Toffee TV. I watch all the football pundits and stuff like that on Sky Sports. All the stuff they talk about Everton on YouTube, whatever. I actually agree with a lot that I think Moshiri obviously has identified Diego Simeone as the number one target. I think that's publicly come out. I'm not 100% sure, but it's been linked heavily. And then we had the Atletico Madrid president come out and make a statement. And you don't make statements unless you feel like you need to make a statement. And if he feels like there is that pressure there, he's going to come out and make a statement. If he looks at it and thinks, oh, they're not offering much money, he's not going to go there. He's going to stay at Atletico. He wouldn't say anything. There's no need to say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd just laugh it off. He'd be like, whatever, it's not going to happen. Diego Simeone staying here. We can offer him the same amount of money or whatever. I think Moshiri has gone all out. Has gone to the representatives of Diego Simeone and offered probably double what he's on at Atletico. And I reckon he's offered more than any other managers on in world football.
Probably, yeah.
He said, there's no other Premier League job apart from potentially Arsenal, which is very unlikely because of how much they love Wenger, and Chelsea. Apart from that, there's probably no jobs available in the top 6 of the Premier League. Yeah. So to come to the 7th best team in the Premier League, which is Everton, build them into a powerhouse, which they've obviously talked up the ability of Diego Simeone to build a good team.
Like, that's what he's done with Atletico Madrid, really.
Exactly. And, we've looked at what he's won as a manager. Diego Simeone is one of the best managers in world football. Surely he wants some time to have a crack at the Premier League. They always want to improve themselves. The Premier League is arguably the world's best league. I know you've got the La Ligas with Barcelona, Real Madrid. You've got Serie A with Juventus. French league, which is a piece of shit, but PSG is one of the best teams in world football. But Premier League is arguably the hardest, most competitive league in the world. You want to be tested as not only as a player, but as a manager. You want to be tested in the best of the best. And the Premier League's the best of the best. And at the moment, if he wants that challenge, if he wants to go and make the most money any manager's making in world football with a talented squad, talented players, and a team that is in a similar position to what Atletico was when he took over, he can go to the Premier League and do that with Everton. And I think that Unsworth will get the job to the end of the season, and there will be, assuming we don't get relegated, there will be big, big talks with Simeone already, and there will be more talks at the end of the season with if we can appoint him at the end of the season, and how much the transfer kitty is going to be, because we thought we had a big kitty last season. I think it's going to be even bigger if Simeone comes in.
Yeah, definitely.
And to be honest, I actually think that's a genuine possibility. I know you've probably seen all the Twitter, Liverpool supporters, United supporters, pretty much every supporter from every other club laughing at us, thinking we're going to get Simeone. But if you narrow it down, there's a distinct possibility that it could happen. It is not likely, but it is a very possible possibility.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. It's a weird one because it's Simeone we're talking about. Like, he could just say no and want to stay at Atletico for his whole career, but at the same time, he has publicly said that he does want to come to the Premier League at some stage. And like you said, realistically, Arsenal, if he wants to wait another year and a half, Arsenal jobs will be available, because I can't see Wenger getting another contract extension after that. And then maybe Chelsea, depending on what happens with Conte, because there's rumours over the last 48 hours that Conte wants to bring Italy back to being a powerhouse in world football. So Yeah, it's a weird one. I'd love to, and I reckon 99% of Everton fans would love to have Simeone in the job, but it's Simeone that we're talking about at the same time
We
too.
are up
So
against it. We are like very, very
yeah,
up against it.
definitely.
We're not
100%.
even bringing into different factors. I mean, different clubs around the world could be after him as well. Look at the Real Madrids. Obviously, probably not going to lose the Zidane, but you never know what the circumstances could pull forward in the future, and there could be bigger clubs. PSG, Barca, obviously much bigger clubs than Everton. They could want to go and do stuff there at. So who really knows? The only thing we can do is sit tight. I personally think it's going to be with Unsworth till the end of the season, right off this season, unless we can go on some mazy run, and win a few on the trot, and then see what happens from there. But listen, we'll see what happens. I'm firmly in the Simeone seat, and we can't really say what's going to happen, but let's hope. Let's hope it comes off. But yeah, Marco Silva and all that. Sam Allardyce, has already ruled himself out. Sean Dyche, we'll talk of Sean Dyche has sort of gone away. I don't know what's happened to him, but I think he's probably said no. I think what's happened is Allardyce wanted more than half a season. Marco Silva probably didn't want to leave 11 games in. Sean Dyche probably wants to play the season with Burnley because they are doing pretty well this season. And I think there's not really much outside that apart from Simeone, and he's not going to come now. So Unsworth's probably Unsworth has done all right as well. It takes a lot from, and like they said on Toffee TV, it takes a lot from the players who want to play for their manager to come from 2 goals down and fight back and win a game, especially with 20 minutes to go. So
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. No, I'm shitting myself for Saturday because we could go to Palace and get battered because they beat Chelsea there, so they can definitely beat us there. But the manager situation is just doing my head in. I wish that the club would come out and say something about it, but I guess they don't want to. So we're just going to sit here and keep on speculating.
We would have thought it would have been at least a week ago that we would have heard some news regarding.
Yeah, well, I was heavily convinced that everything would be confirmed on what's happening for the end of the season by last weekend, and we're playing Palace tomorrow night, so it's a weird one, but I guess Mashiri's trying to work out something, and it's been well documented that Mashiri is working around the clock to try and get something done. But at the same time, from what I've heard, Mashiri is also not completely against the idea of giving it to Unsworth to the end of the season. So
yeah, we know Ken Wright's behind Unsworth as well. Not that really matters, but he is. Anyway, we'll quickly touch on Crystal Palace. Obviously, bottom of the league for good reason. They've been abysmal, but like you said, they have won at home to Chelsea, so they are a threat. Especially, they can probably smell blood in this game. Obviously, we won the last game against Watford, but we have been poor, and they can probably sense that they could get a win against us on Saturday. And rightly so, we could verse anyone and lose at the moment, but all historical facts point to us winning this game. Only one of Crystal Palace's 5 wins against us in Premier League history against Everton. Only one has been at Selhurst Park, and that was back in 1994. We have lost just one of our 20 Premier League away games against sides who started the day at the bottom of the table. So our only loss is in 2004 at Wolves. So I mean, realistically, we should not lose this game. But Crystal Palace are a threat. And, I've never thought Crystal Palace were that bad. I haven't watched that many of their games this season, to be honest. But their squad's not bad. In all honesty, they've got some good players in there. And they've obviously got rid of their manager, Frank de Boer, this season already. They took it right up to Tottenham, and they should have scored against Tottenham.
Yeah, they should have gone up at 1 or 2 stages there. Sacco missed a really good chance, and Zaha, it was a really tough angle, but Zaha missed an open goal as well. So
they forced a lot of good saves. They were
decent value on them, yeah.
They forced a lot of saves out of Gazaniga as well. So
they've definitely improved since they got rid of De Boer. Like, they still struggled for the first few games after appointing Hodgson, but they've certainly improved since sacking him as well.
I guess the good thing about this particular tie is the fact that Benteke is out with injury, I believe. Which
He's expected to come back either this week or next week, so I'm hoping that it's fucking next week.
Yeah. But we do have Loftus-Cheek for Crystal Palace, who did make his England debut, I believe, last week.
Yeah, it was one of the best on against Germany as well.
Yeah, so he's obviously a talented footballer. So he'll come back with a bit of confidence and it'll be a tough game. Crystal Palace at home, just by the way, apart from the start of the season, haven't been too bad. Their last games at home, a 2-2 draw to West Ham, a 2-1 win against Chelsea, a 1-0 win against Huddersfield in the Cup, and then before that they were average, so a 1-0 loss to Southampton at home, which isn't really that bad. Southampton are not a bad team. Before that, a 2-0 loss to Swansea and a 3-0 loss to Huddersfield, so it doesn't bode too well. But that obviously was the start of the season. And, obviously getting smashed by the Manchester clubs and whatnot, as everyone really has been this season. But they're not bad. They're not a bad team. They'll come out firing. Like I said, they can probably smell blood against us, and rightly so. But what are your predictions? What are you expecting us in regards to how we're going to line up and how we're going to play and just all the little do-ups and hooligans regarding this game?
I think we'll definitely, obviously, they're sitting last. Like, no disrespect to them, but they are sitting last for a reason. So we'll definitely go there with the optimism that we will get 3 points quite comfortably. But at the same time, we have to be conservative because if we go there and attack too much, they could get us on the break because they do have, especially if Benteke's playing, they'll most likely have a front three of Townsend, Zaha and Benteke, and they are pretty good footballers. With a midfield of players like Kabay and Loftus-Cheek, it's not going to be ridiculously easy. But at the same time, I think we should be going there and winning. And I would hope to think we could win by 2 or 3 goals. The main thing, again, for me, is getting a fucking clean sheet. Because it's just ridiculous how much confidence our team, the club, basically will get if we get a clean sheet, because we had like 2 in all competitions so far this season in like 20 games. So, yeah, it's massive that we do get the clean sheet, but at the same time, I think the team again picks itself. But at this stage anyway, I don't think there'll be too many changes from the team that lined up against Watford. Like, you'll have the standard Kenny at right back, Baines at left back, Keane and Jagielka and Pickford, and then hopefully we don't go with 2 defensive mids.
It's good that, isn't it? It's good hearing a back five that is having a similar back five every week, despite the calls for us to rest Baines and whatever we've said about the back five. The fact that they are playing together a lot more often, and it's not chopping and changing with the likes of Ashley Williams coming in and out, Holgate, Martina. They get to know each other a little bit more and they build that chemistry, and something that we do need is a defensive wall that know each other and know how they play and can play together. So it's good that they're getting that experience. Yeah,
definitely. And be interested to see who does start, because I think we need to go in with width. So then you pick some players like Lennon, Morales, Lookman, Vlasic. I think Morales would be back available. I haven't heard much after what apparently happened at training with him and Schneiderlin and Unsworth, but I would like to see Vlasic get a go, but at the same time, apparently Unsworth hasn't had one conversation with Vlasic since taking over, so not sure what's going on there either. So it's really weird, because I rate Vlasic as well. Like, I'd love us just to play Vlasic on the right and looking on the left, really, but we've got a good squad. Realistically, in my opinion, it'll be very disappointing if we go there and get anything other than a win, because we win, then we would move like 4 or 5 points away from the drop zone and be moving forward like 2 wins in a row and go into the next game with momentum. But if we lose, then we're getting sucked back into 17th, 18th, 19th. So it's just important that we win, and hopefully we can do it convincingly, because I don't think we're going to go there and smash them. But if we could go there and win 2-0, 3-0, again, the players would take a lot of confidence from that, and hopefully we'll play like an under-23 sort of setup against Atalanta and then go into next week with a bit of confidence.
Yeah, it certainly builds up to be a very important game. Every game this season, really, every week we're having cup finals. We need to win every game at the moment, and just to give us a bit of breathing space and to build some confidence within the camp. But I guess time will tell. I guess we'll find out about 4 a.m. tomorrow night if we're heading in the right direction or if we really need to rethink and start shooting ourselves again. But I guess we just got to go there, play our game. I know Unsworth will drill into the lads that we're a better team than them. We just got to go there, play our game, play with confidence, and we will win. We are a much better footballing side and individually a lot better on paper than Crystal Palace are. And we just need, the lads just need the confidence. I think Unsworth, if anything to go by, Baines, what he said after the game against Watford, has been, really revving up the lads and getting them going. And, I think he said some inspirational halftime speech got him over the line or something like that, which is nice to hear from Unsworth. But I think he just needs to install that confidence in the team. It starts from him, and hopefully we can go on from there, get an early goal, control the game, and pinch another 1 or 2 extra ones and hold a clean sheet. I think that's an ideal situation for us. Even if it's 1-0, who cares?
Exactly right.
But yeah, any last thoughts? Anything else you want to add?
I honestly don't know. I'm just glad. I am starting to come around to international football. I always liked international football, but over the last few months, since I've really started going to games and stuff, I'm glad the international break's over. But at the same time, I'm going to miss international football. But I'm glad that we can just get stuck into Everton for the next 4 to 5 months before the next international break, and it's just focused on club football, no interruptions. It's just the lads are going to be on the training paddock and playing games just for Everton for the next 5 months. So there's no side sort of distractions, because we know from last season with Lukaku that players do tend to turn into cunts when they go away on the international break.
It's true. And we look at a lot of players were competing for spots in the World Cup squads, and I mean
Vlasic played for Croatia, and apparently he's not even in the picture for Everton. So I know Vlasic only came off the bench for the last 5 to 10 minutes, but still, Vlasic is more than likely at this stage going to be a part of a World Cup squad with Croatia, who are like the 8th favourites to take it out. So it's weird to look at it that way, that he's getting a part of that squad and isn't even getting a look in with Everton at the moment, who, without betting around the bush, are struggling right now in the Premier League.
Yeah. Well, let's hope the boys focus and push for World Cup spots and really...
well, they're all playing for World Cup spots. There's literally everyone in our squad right now that I can think of, off the top of my head, are playing for World Cup spots. I don't think we've got many Italians or Americans. Or David Klassen's probably just going to sit on the beach for the next year, but... Other than that,
there's a lot of players that can...
And Rooney obviously retired, but still.
I mean, Calvert-Lewin has been in the frame. Sandro...
Calvert-Lewin comes out and kills it.
Same with Sandro as well, though. I mean...
Exactly right, yeah.
Sandro wants to prove a point. He could come... I mean, it's unlikely. Spain's a very strong squad to get into, but their striking position's not filled with a lot of talent, so... They've got some good players at striker, don't get me wrong, but... I think that's all we'll cover in this one today. Jake, it's been another good episode of the School of Science. We'll be back after the Crystal Palace game. Follow us on Twitter at SOSEFC1878. We talk a lot of shit on there and retweet famous Jake White's Twitter posts. Maybe, I don't know if we did. Also on Podbean, flicking the bean all season long. As we tend to do in real life anyway. Jake... Until the next time, mate.
The fuck I'm talking about.